outside of Van Pelt. It was, the trees were on, glowing on fire, the electric was arcing onto them, the primary lines, it was cool. I said, Fourth of July, cool.
And expensive.
And like 5 seconds later, I was talking to Chris and Nick on the phone and his pager went off. Trident fire,
Oh,
so it was something, but they were out of power, huh?
Yeah, my daughter is dating a guy who works at NICEAG and he was out all night last night.
Oh, sure,
Oh,
sure.
At least that's what he told her.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I'll find out.
Should know.
Oh, I'll find out.
Surprised we didn't get any glitches. I didn't notice any glitches.
No. Computer was still on. Working fine. I mean, it was on.
Fridge that makes liquid helium at the lab didn't shut down. So
No, all good.
Good.
It certainly was noisy. I'm going to start the meeting at 12:05 on Thursday, June 16th, 2022. Meeting of the staff and the Board of Trustees. Jody has the recorder turned on, so we're good to go. I know Susan is going through the vouchers. Have you already looked through?
nope.
Okay, so we will postpone the vote on paying the bills until after you both look through those. Just to remind me, don't let me forget. So we're going to go around the table. Don, since you're public, do you have any comment related to anything that's not going to be on our topic today, on our discussion, our agenda? Okay. I think we'll get to your topic pretty quick. So John, we're going to start with you for your request.
In regards to the sewer, we vetted the contractor out. We've had some meetings prior to regarding sewer issues. I think we're working to resolve them. Spoke with Brett to try to get a confirmation letter that they'll accept the flows from that District 1 in the town of Lansing that has been sent. I don't know if we've got the official one that Linda has signed yet.
I hadn't received it by the time I came here. They were just basically going to put it on one of their letterheads for them to sign and they would send it over.
It sounded like they were in all agreement to take the 33,000 50-gallon per day flow from the town of Lansing in that development, those potential developments. We've had a pre-con meeting for the water line project. Well, I should back up. On the sewer, I made my official recommendation this morning to accept the bids from Factory with the alternate one, base bid plus alternate one. So I'm not sure if you've received anything from Dave Herrick yet, as far as an official recommendation, but he was good with it. So I say we move forward with that. And is there any questions on the sewer or anything while we're here? And the bids?
No, we should probably go ahead and discuss that
Okay.
and vote for it.
Okay.
Because if we cannot vote on this and approve the contract award today, we're going to have a special meeting within the next 10 days, which would require a public notification of the meeting too. But if there are any questions related to all the moving parts related to the sewer expansion project, do you have any for John? I don't have any either.
So the resolution would read to award the contract for the 2022 sanitary sewer benefit area expansion project to Vackery Construction Corporation, 1 Brook Avenue, Binghamton, New York, 13901, for the base bid of $3,974,000 plus addendum number 1, which is 5 highway crossings along East Shore Drive for an additional $483,000 for a grand total contract of $4,457,000.
Okay. Is there any more discussion? I guess I will move the resolution. I need a second.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Susan. Any discussion? No discussion? Don, do you want any input in this?
I hope you're going to vote for
Okay. Okay, there's no further discussion. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of approving this resolution awarding the project to Vackery, raise your hand and say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, that's unanimous, Jody. So,
I will say that there is gonna be a reduction in the base bid. We're looking at alternate pumps for it, the flight pumps that they were, the flight pumps that they originally spec'd, we found an alternate pump that'll work just as good and have just as good warranty, and there's been a lot of them used in the local areas. I think it's an ABS pump, and they had offered us a credit of 50,000 to purchase those, to use those pumps. That'll be offset by a couple thousand for the telemetry that we're gonna have put in there. They thought it was in the spec, but somehow it got deleted from the spec. They're gonna have a telemetry, and we'll have to purchase a software package that'll alert us if there's any outages, power outages, pump failures. There's like 10 things that it can do. And then there will be a monthly, like a cell charge for it. It's not a ton, I think $30 a month or something like that,
okay,
that we'll have to subscribe to. And it's very important to the village to be able to have that communication in an emergency. You know, one of the budget items we have in there is a 3-phase generator to supply power to that and as a backup to the power outages. We all know that they're very common or can happen in New York, and basically there's a little containment area with the pumps in there that constantly gets the flows, and then it'll eventually have to be evacuated with the pumps to push it over into Cuba Heights, Cedar Lane area. So that will be a little addition, but I think it's $2,000 for the software or something like that. The final numbers will come in, but there will be a reduction of 50,000 in lieu of. We're actually gonna use that pump, use that little bit of, I think it's 25,000 to put spare pumps in stock here at the village, because with COVID, there's a 12-week backlog in them. So there's tandem pumps in each pump station. So, and they oscillate timing. So not one is getting worked harder than the other. And the way the variable frequency drives are set up, it'll kind of just exercise both pumps. And there's telemetry inside the pumps that'll feed back to all that. And there's seals in there that'll detect any kind of seal failure or bearing failure or high resistance to the stators, where there's more friction and more power draw. So then we'll get pre-notification of some kind of pump failure. So it's a big step for the village to have pumps. The village is unique that it has, I think, 33,000 feet of sanitary sewer lines, and it all can be gravity. It's a great benefit. I think Horseheads has like 50 some pumps, and they're constantly failing. I mean, it is a crude environment that they sit in, so they do wear out.
right. Can I ask you a question?
Yep, sure.
The telemetry within the pumps, is there any chance that it can detect an excessive amount of sewage going through? Like, I'm thinking an I problem.
Right. It can be set up to detect constant pump run. I mean, once it develops a pattern
Okay,
of its pump cycles,
baseline.
and if it has an extended cycle, it'll issue a notice via either email, text, that there's something going on in that. It's pretty neat that we can have that kind of alarm.
And that would text you, I take it. It would text you or,
Yeah, it would text us, text me, it would send an email out. We're gonna, for record keeping, and not really necessarily record keeping we'll probably throw TG Miller on an email and have them just get notified.
Okay.
And then we just want a system of checks and balances to make sure we get out there and we do what we gotta do to make it move along. Right.
I wanted to ask about donation portion that you discussed in your email.
No.
I don't know anything about that.
Okay, well,
It's in our budget.
yeah, it's been, part of the big part of the big area this is gonna serve is gonna be the Young's property. I think they have it's like 58 single families and 59 apartments or condominiums. And they felt that they wanted to, I think Don worked most of this out back years ago. They felt that they wanted to contribute to the project.
I see. Okay.
And it was originally between the Weinsteins and the Youngs, but the Weinsteins backed out just around COVID time. And John said he would step up to the plate and carry out that 890.
Where's their property?
Their property.
Autumn Ridge.
East Shore Drive,
What?
Waterwagon.
it's just south of Water Wagon, and some of his property is actually in the village. And some of the developable property will be in the village.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's kind of a good thing. And that's not quite 1/5 of the project, so.
Okay.
About 1/5 of the project, anyway. Yeah, any other questions on the sewer?
Is the telemetry going to go into this system that Ithaca Area Plant and Cuba Heights?
It'll just be for the village sensing pump failures and variable frequency drive failures or power failures. It's just basically, they used to put alarms with red lights on top of them. And this is just much more advanced than that, you know?
Yeah, much more. Okay, that's good.
Actually, once you know the pump pattern, then it's very easy to detect I&I
Right, yeah. Well, I mean,
built in because the pumps run once a day or whatever they.
yeah, it'll keep telemetry of the pump cycles.
Right.
So if the pump is overcycling or cycling more than the users that are putting out on an average daily basis of 200 gallons per day, then you can source that. I don't think it's accurate enough to use as a flow meter setup, because when the variable frequency drive does not, the pumps draw 23 amps at startup, which is a lot. It's a lot to the system, NICEX system, and it can actually flicker the lights around the area every time them pumps kick on. So what they do is the variable frequency drive starts them up like 50 hertz, and then it ramps them up to the 60 hertz 3-phase. And so that ramp time might not be accurate enough to compute how much flow that pump is pumping. So you can't really use it as a flow meter, but that sewage goes down to the treatment plant flow meter anyway. So we can get a baseline from that,
Be a
real
real
time.
right? The two pieces, because the gravity line also goes into that same meter.
The gravity line up,
Gravity line goes into that same meter.
Right. at the treatment plant.
Did we ever automate those?
Yes, they're automated. They're on real-time data. I think that's what's been the biggest flag up right now with inflow and infiltration concerns. They're looking at them daily, hourly, and they're noticing, during spike events, they're noticing a lot of rain events. They've been noticing a lot of spikes.
In the town of Ithaca, the line along Hanshaw leak like a sieve.
Yeah, and I think that's the one that could possibly get upgraded if the Cornell develops that property up on Arrowwood.
And that's where right now the meter's not working.
Oh,
They're still having problems with getting it set, getting it calibrated. So, I don't know. So it's,
on the sewer basis real quick, Horizon Drive area, which is Rosina Drive flow meter that the town is putting in, is still in the process of being installed, but they're having issues with finding a device that will read such low flows. They're so low flows because it's only a few houses in that development. And that's part of the 2019 agreement was every municipal border needs a flow meter when it leaves that municipality into the next. And that was one of the areas that didn't have a flow meter. So before John Young's can connect to this sanitary sewer, it is our responsibility to ensure that they or the town of Lansing installs the flow meter. So they can't connect until they install the flow meter.
Right.
And that's a significant value there.
Mhm.
And record keeping as well. It's an asset.
And that's how they're going to track whether they're exceeding the maximum.
Yeah, that's how they're gonna, yeah, the daily flows of 33,050 gallons is through that flow meter. If it exceeds that, then it goes to renegotiations. Man, there's so much I could really talk to you about here, but I would probably bore you, but I'll get to the gist of things. The water line project is moving forward. The pre-con went well. The county they're tough to work with, but we think we got most of them on board with it. There's gonna be 5 borings across Warren Road that raised the overall bid price up there. I met with Doug Snyder from Integrated Properties. Christine Haas was supposed to be there. She had an accident over the weekend, which made her immobile, so she couldn't go. Don DeHarner and Owen Barton met with me. They're very concerned about our water line route and the tree removals. They have so many trees up there, but there's no good path without some tree removal. So I committed that we will, some of the trees we had planned in the bid were a very small caliper, and a lot of those trees are very mature up there. They were requesting some larger trees, and some maybe additional trees to create the enchanted forest, I guess, in between the Brown Road and Warren Road, and their businesses. It was a very fruitful walkthrough, and I think we're gonna have to pony up a little bit and get some trees for them, some bigger trees.
How many trees do you think we'll have to replace?
I don't know the count, but I think it's like 5 or 6 trees are gonna be removed,
Okay.
compromised.
We have an estimate of roughly the cost per installation.
Most of that's already calculated in the bid. The only thing we'll have to do is a change order to get larger trees.
Larger trees.
Yeah.
So would that,
An additional tree.
will that increase the cost of installation?
Absolutely. Well, I don't know about the installation of the tree. I would think a hole to hole, but maybe, I don't know.
I don't know.
You know,
That's why I was
the
curious.
warranty, maybe, I think there's a year warranty on the tree plantings,
That's usual.
but there's some trees up there that have, value to them. So
All right.
our project on St. Joe's is moving along. It seems like if there was any obstacle in the way, we've hit them all. I mean, we didn't hit them, but we've encountered them all. And whether it be a sewer, a gas line, a water line or cable, we have either had to dip and dive around them or have them relocated. We had a nice little water break up there Tuesday. We were digging on a constant wet spot and we got down to it, and just removing the dirt made it blow out about a grapefruit size hole in the pipe, and it was right where the service is to where she used to live there on Vatopka. So that took us a long time to get the valve shut down. We actually had, I had a little talk at Bolton Point about our valve and hydrant maintenance schedule. It seems like we had to go out too far to get the valve squeezed down to be able to repair the break, and to me, that's just unacceptable. But I'll follow up more with them. The project's going good. The infrastructure is pretty much in the ground. We're buttoning up the last piece today. The final work would be grading and driveway replacements. And but most of the people were really thrilled. We poured our concrete light pole bases this morning, so all the street light infrastructure's in. I got a service request in for NICEAG to get that moved forward. I'm gonna try to get this on energy only instead of having a meter. And, because sometimes the usage charge is less than the meter charge will be. So I have questions into that. I've been copying Jody on that stuff. we installed November, I think last year, December, we installed all new streetlight infrastructure up in various streets, Black Chin area, Janivar area, and have yet to have any movement on the classification that we requested NICEAG to do. They were on SE2 contract, which is bulb and photo eye maintenance with electric use. And we want to move them to just basically energy only, and we're going to do the maintenance. And we replaced all the heads, so there should be a pretty good reduction in on the invoices on that. Pretty much Lansing Meadows is moving forward, but they keep pounding me for the release of their escrow fund. And I have a punch list for them to do. And I thought it was pretty clear in my email. They made some deflections in the storm sewer. Usually deflections or change in elevations are made at each catch basin. And not mid-stride through the installation of the storm sewer. And when you deflect, and since it was a bell and spigot pipe, when you deflect, it sometimes props them open. And I wanted it televised because they made those deflections like that. I've asked for as-built for that. They've provided some and easements. We just got the easements, the remaining sidewalk easement last week that Peter sent along from Getzman's attorney. I just don't see myself getting on them to review them easements, and I'm still waiting for their punch list items to be corrected. So it's going to be some time before I think I would give a recommendation to release their escrow funds.
Now, when you say televised, you just mean you want to go down inside to see if there's been any damage to that particular.
They run a motorized camera up and down that pipe and 200-foot runs. Right. In between the catch basins. And what we're looking for is sags in the line or any deflection that opened up the joints.
Okay.
You don't want to, I mean, a lot of times like that, after they've been backfilled, a rock may sit above the joint. Eventually the dirt will fall down around it. Right now we got a continuous hole inside in between the walk and the roadway.
All right. Yeah, that's what you meant. I just wanted to.
Yeah, I don't think it's much to ask for. They had televised the sanitary sewer line and they won't give me that tape for some reason. And that's one of my punch list items to, on their sewer is I want to televise. I want the recording of that.
Right.
It just makes sense. Get the recording of it because they never did any record keeping when they installed it. And how they got the locations of laterals is by running a camera up there and measuring the footage with a camera. And it's not real accurate. So I want to verify that with a recording.
Okay.
And I want to see the integrity of the line. Yeah, we're not there every minute of the day to watch them install. If there's a sag in that line, it has to be repaired.
Right.
We'll find that with a televised
Okay.
line. We had paved Highgate. Before we do any of our work, and I mean nothing bad by this from Cuba Heights, before we do any of our paving, we have Bolton Point come up and work every valve in the pavement and make sure they can get their valve key on it. The first load that went down was on Cuba Heights side because I convinced them to do their side. Their manhole, and that was the one I was telling you about, was leaking. So I hate to say this, they're hypocrites when they're telling us to watch for I when there's a staring at their face. So our team worked hard to get the riser for the blacktop on that manhole. We couldn't get it to fit, so we ended up cutting the riser ring in half to get it stretched open enough to get their manhole lid in there. And there was none of them guys around. So I emailed them that afternoon and explained what we did. When they come out there and see it, wasn't the contractor, it was the village.
Linda mentioned it in our Gang of Five meeting yesterday that they were addressing that. So,
Yeah.
and they thanked the village for finding it for them.
Yeah, Well, what the bad part is, the road has just been paved. In order to fix that, you have to cut a hole in the road.
Got a hold.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, we go out, we look at every manhole
Sure.
before we pave. We have Bolton Point, stick your valve key on every valve. And we had one valve box to fix. We fixed that a week and a half ago. And you try to, you can't replace every water line underneath the road that gets paved, but you can try to get as much infrastructure repaired as you can.
Sure.
It's just a proactive approach for longevity of the
I agree.
roadway surface.
And part of that project, two of my colleagues live on that road. And they were very pleased with the job. So thank you.
Yeah, I think we made a lot of people happy with the storm work there and,
Oh, the paving job.
and the paving too. Jody forwarded me an email from Angus something, I can't remember his name. And he has all the emails of the whole area. So I kind of briefly just sent him what to look out for and that you're gonna be inconvenienced by the construction.
Katie Jacoby is our head person in finance, lives on that road. And Matt Miller, who's a professor in engineering.
Good, as long as they're happy, we're good. If they're happy, probably most of them are happy up there.
Yes, I know.
So, one last item before I have to take off, is we purchased a new loader last year. And setting the bucket down on the asphalt, the bucket would be up off on the corner, be up off the ground. Well, that's an inconvenience to the village because we do a lot of road scraping when we get material on the road. And what happened, it would dig on the side of the road on the one side of the bucket, not the other. They took it back, they blamed it on tire pressure. And they said they had it all fixed. And I went up there and I demonstrated in their parking lot and they said, well, and they had the tire pressures countering for that. What they did is they had more air inside to counter for that frame issue. Come to find out it was a frame issue. And it was gonna take a complete boring of all the pins and realigning to get the bucket to sit on the ground. So I wasn't getting much action. It seemed like it was up there more than it was here. And I squabbled a little bit to the right person and they offered a new loader to us. So we got to use their demo for 6 months before we got our new loader just the other day. With that said, we kind of have to do the surplus of the one loader with the serial number and this one will have its new property card. We just got it Monday.
Okay.
So, and the cool thing is they upgraded a lot of features for us. So they put another $7,000 in it.
Okay.
So it has a little more value than the last one. So. But it was an even trade, no expenses out of the villages.
So we have to surplus the original new loader
Yeah,
and then take on
Yep.
and accept the replacement loader.
basically Jody knows how to do all that.
Okay.
John, what's this?
It's an air bag in back of the cab and it has two shocks on it. And the airbag is made by Firestone. It's been blown like once a year. And it's a really son of a gun to get to and fix. So what we did is we ordered the shocks. The mechanic thought the shocks may be overextending and allowing the airbag to pop. So it's basically a repair.
What, I just need to know.
Which
what
truck?
color.
Oh, sorry, 2015.
I have one question for you too. The general fund number 371 is for the wood carpet
Yeah,
for 56, which is it? All playgrounds?
modeled Mike's new house. No, it's it's actually the bark chips for the play structure at Dankirk Park. And we're gonna take some on the Global Village side.
Okay.
After a while, they start decaying.
Yeah. I just wasn't sure which
Yeah.
park.
Yeah, both of those parks. And that's what they want to do up the Beers properties, put like wood carpet trails in. But that eventually turns into dirt. You know, we all know what wood does after a while.
I know what happens to mulch.
Yes, you'd be surprised how the kids can sweep it away. I mean, it's just amazing, but I put it through because you're supposed to maintain a foot of cushion around the play structures. That's why we have to revitalize it once in a
Oh,
while.
no, I was just curious which park.
Any other questions on the bills?
we need to vote on surplusing.
Well, yeah, we can do that. I just have a question. Are we going to send out a letter to the people that can connect into this new sewer project? Because I have people asking me, how do I go about it? What are we?
We have sent a letter out and basically we could send out a notification.
We should.
I mean,
Once it's done, and will Thackeray actually hook them in if they pay them?
no, we don't want to dirty the water a little
Well,
bit.
then we need to tell them how to go about it.
Yeah, basically they apply for a permit through Mike and they just like any kind of person gets it done in the village, but we can send a notice out or,
We should.
yeah, and do you didn't you send the notices out when Don signed the one letter?
But it doesn't have, I mean, we need to give.
No, what I'm asking is, do you still have the addresses for all that in that file?
Yeah.
That's what I was wondering if you could just maybe,
When do you think they'll be able to actually hook up?
2023, October 2023,
October.
I think is the, if you look in the contract, that's the date of completion.
Cool. That's great.
Aren't they required to hook up within a year?
No, 2 years, but we were gonna waive that, we were gonna waive it or on a case by case.
Basis.
Yeah, we have the ability to waive.
Yeah, because what had happened is a lot of them people waited so long that, or the project took longer than expected to get in the ground, that they had to put new systems in.
Right,
So if
so
somebody spent 30,000 on a new system, they just don't want to go back and spend 10,000 to get that put.
Yeah.
To make the connection.
I think that that's the most fair thing to
I
do.
think the board decided it was a case by case basis if they requested.
Right, they still have to request.
And we have to legally ask our attorney if we could do that.
Well, that's, I mean,
Yeah,
yeah, however,
I thought that Natalie was involved, though, but it won't hurt to be sure.
yeah. Any other questions?
No,
Nice seeing you, Susan.
Nice seeing
Seeing you, Carolyn.
say hi to Chris
Connie.
and Nick.
Huh?
Say hi to Chris and Nick.
so
Oh,
we need to surplus the loader.
Yeah.
And replace with an even trade, and you'll get me the numbers and everything, right?
Okay, so I will move that we surplus the old new loader and accept the new.
New loader.
I need a second.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor, say aye. Aye. That's unanimous.
What was almost,
I was going to tell you that Deborah and I walked down to Botopka when the water fountain was going, when Chris gave us a lowdown about what happened. So it was, but I was thinking to myself, well, this is really nice. You're actually going to fix a water main that was problematic and you're testing your new stormwater system. The water was going out of one hole and into the other and away. So
it was a true test because they had every hydrant open as well. And so the hydrants got massaged at the same time. But believe it or not, there was a little 12-inch pipe next to the water break that took almost all the water that it was supplying until it just kept plugging up with little debris of sod. And it finally went down and tested the rest of the system, but it got a thorough flush that day.
Yeah.
So, well, thank you all and we'll talk.
One more question. Did we ever decide, are we gonna charge people from the town of Lansing a connection fee here at the village?
If you
Is
can,
that being worked on at all, you know?
we're discussing it. It's a future subject. Once we start getting, once this project is, basically, I've been trying to work to get this project out the door. Now that it's going to be started, we can start talking to the town about how we're going to do that.
Well, that would be it wouldn't be the town paying for it. It'd be each individual property owner pays for sewer connections.
Sewer connections with any resident or commercial property within the town.
I'm all for it. And I think what we're concerned about is we're spending a lot of money and getting very little back from the town of Lansing. And that's a concern to us. I mean, on Cherry Road Sewer District and Warren Road Sewer District, I think Jody stated we get like $14,000 a year to convey their sewer to the treatment plant. That's one little mistake and we get a violation from the DEC if they send something down that plugs the line. I mean, I think it's a $50,000 a day violation. I'm not saying we're trying to cushion our reserves enough to pay for all that, but I think 14,000 is a real good deal for the town of Lansing to be able to convey their sewer down our infrastructure.
But we will be discussing the amount we're going to charge, and that will that will come before the board. We've discussed it informally, but nothing solid is ready. When it's ready or close to ready, we'll come back to the board and get the board involved with the discussion too, to make sure we're going in the right direction. Okay.
Well, and I think it should be part of the whole thing, the Cherry, the Warren, any of them. Any
Absolutely.
of them hook in,
Right.
they should have to pay to connect, just like our residents. Why should they get a free ride?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I was looking at your breakdown, which was very nice, by the way. And I can't believe Town of Lansing's permits are as low as they are. I think they were like $1,500 or something like that, or $1,000. I mean, it seems pretty low for,
Well, they don't have much either.
no, but
That's
still.
been that for a long time, I believe.
I mean,
So I mean, they're not really. And the way they charge is a flat fee.
This is, Peter, I gotta take this one.
Okay, John, thank you. Jody, thank you. Yeah, that's a discussion we've been having, and it's too early to bring it before the board. But you're aware now, and it starts really we start getting down into the weeds. I'll let you come help John. So we do plan to do that. Okay, Mike, you're up to bat.
Well, just after what John said about the sewer, it was a few months back. The planning board was discussing what the effect of the sewer going into that area of low density residential to see. So, you know, in code, a sewered parcel is a lot less square footage. And it was the thought, I believe it came up before you.
Part of the original deal was that it remains low density lots.
Yeah, they're kind of concerned that with the less square footage, it would be easier for people to subdivide. So I'm going through each parcels that come down through and kind of comparing what they could do as a non-sewer as opposed to what they could do with a sewer to see if it was a huge increase. It's going to be very difficult to do it with the large parcel of land because that's more than likely not going to be something that's, it's going to be some type of cluster subdivision. Probably if they do it, it's not going to be, it'd be hard to measure that. So I'm kind of taking that area right out. So,
Way down the road, I'm sure.
yeah, so I'm
Questions?
I don't quite understand. So what is the lot size for
Bye,
sewer?
John.
What is lot size for non-sewered? Like along Key Heights Road?
I believe it's 90,000 for non-sewered and 60,000 for sewered.
It's 60,000 and 45,000.
60,000, 45,000.
So if you put, so you could take something that's 1,200, put in the sewer and then divide it in half. 12,000, 1,120,000,
Yes,
and then divide it. Then also there was a discussion at the planning board that there's a frontage requirement also. What's that?
yeah, in that area it's 150.
And that's regardless.
That's regardless. So it would be. Now, if these are single family,
Mhm.
the numbers change a little bit if you're gonna go two family like a duplex.
And you can put in duplexes along that area also?
You can put in duplex, a single
And
family.
and so
and
then
two
what's,
family.
this is single family, what is a duplex?
I think the duplex is 90 and 60. I
It's the
can look
same.
it up, I can look it up and get it to you.
So it's the same.
No, the other is 60 and 45.
Well, you told me 90 and 60 a second ago. Sorry.
That Don corrected me on that.
Say it again, please.
The original deal with Lisa, when she was chair, was that it would remain the same lot size as low density residential, period.
So we'll have to actually change.
Yep.
We'll have to change the code to keep it so that it doesn't allow for areas to become.
So we're gonna change the code so that seward's now gonna be 60. It's gonna go up from 45 to 60.
Yep, so it's all the same, so they can't be, of course, one of the restriction of that is the frontage. I
Right,
mean, you can't, obviously, it doesn't matter if you change the lot size, if you don't have the frontage, you don't have the frontage, but,
right.
you know, that's a matter of getting.
But then the BZA could waive it if you have 140 feet or whatever. They could just say fine.
But they basically want to find out the effects of having a sewer area come down through there, because they really don't want to see the low density residential turn into a medium density
Is
residential.
there any place besides Hugo Heights Road that we're thinking about here?
Where you're coming down East
With the sewer
Shore,
and-
Hugo Heights.
And so also East Shore, so Hugo Heights plus East Shore
Mhm.
Right.
And Glens Road.
and what?
Twin Glens,
And Twin,
Twin Glens.
going down there. Okay, okay.
Yeah, so I'm, like I said, I'm in the middle of kind of coming up with as most accurate numbers as I can with that. And I will double check those numbers for you because I don't have them memorized yet.
Now, if you want.
Just wanted to know generally what
Better
the
to
plan
you.
was. Just
I understand.
specifics.
Some of the other items, the planning board is working on a lot of, I know Susan's been there a lot and Ronnie's been there and you've been on, seeing a lot of the planning board, working on a special permit for the VA clinic. Also working on a special permit for McGuire Chevy Cadillac. They're gonna go through a complete renovation. Actually, it's a type 3 alteration because it's over 50%. They're doing them, so they're gonna have to bring everything up to code. That's probably gonna take a few more meetings, because we're working on some issues that we had Nissan that we knew that we were going to do when they decided to do the Chevy and Cadillac renovation. Along with, the planning board's still working on the tree conservation law. It's, at this point, we're looking to kind of separate this law into residential and actually have a commercial parking lot separate section, because it's hard to have the same rules for one and have it for the other. It just doesn't make sense. So that's gonna take a little while to do, and I promise we'll get to the solar. We're also
2022, you didn't finish the sentence.
we're tweaking the code a little bit with a little bit of items we've had some past problems with. But everything's been, with the planning boards, it's been busy. You want to add anything to that, Jim?
No, I think you covered it.
I wanted to ask, because I just saw the for rent sign on Lansing Meadows.
Mhm.
So is that like for rent, like as in it's ready to be occupied, or they're just like looking for tenants for the future? Does he have a
I have
date?
no idea what he's thinking, but he's nowhere near getting a CFC yet. You know, John was talking about having to see all the information about the sewer. He's got to sign off on that before I'll sign off on granting a certificate of compliance. So he's got to do what he's got to do.
So I don't know what the sign's up for.
I just noticed it on, as I was driving in this meeting.
Yeah, people, well, that's.
First, I thought,
That's their-
first I thought it was a for sale sign because it was a real estate sign. So I was like, what? They're selling? I thought it just says for rent.
I wonder if it's for the commercial property where he's trying to get someone, but.
No, I don't think so.
It would
No,
have to
no,
be-
it looks
it'd
like,
be a
it
commercial
looks
sign.
like it's for the,
Yeah.
Just to rent the areas.
okay.
That must be for you. There's been quite a little bit of uptick in permits, mostly for small items such as energy efficiency for heating and cooling, roofing, decks, that type of stuff. Only one building, a new building that I've approved is on Graham Road, that lot that has the cemetery on it. It's now officially 77 Graham. It's before you make that corner that turns into dark. I believe they're going to have, there's looking also to subdivide those two lots that actually are on Dart Drive. They are conforming lots. They have the right size, but we're still talking about that. But that house is a go. Couple other things, Aldi's and the Alcohol and Drug Council are still moving along. Aldi's is going relatively slow. The Drug and Alcohol Council, very good crew over there, and they're moving along quite fast. Actually, they've got the approval to do the sheet rocking on that. So they're coming along quite nice.
What's the slowdown on Aldi? Do they have a reason?
I don't know. I don't know. At this point, it seems, and this is only my personal opinion from working there, working in the business, it seems like the organization isn't as, no one seems to communicate over there, except not each other, but that's
Okay.
my business.
Yeah, that's
I
a valid
went
observation.
I through my first, it's called an ISO. It's most I can describe it is as an audit. It's basically they come up with a scale for adjusting the insurance rates in the area. I'm sure you know quite a bit about them. You've been through quite a bit.
I just paid 120,000 to DEC for my work.
Well, the gentleman that I got was very good. We went through how we handle all of the basically our code effectiveness. So they had to make a rundown of what we handle, how we handle it, our paperwork and whatnot. Worked out quite well. I was very happy with it. We haven't got the final numbers, but he had, by the time he got done with describing everything that we did, that he said we have above average rating last year, and he seems to think it's going to go up.
Excellent.
He says our efficiency is we're farther ahead of a lot of municipalities as far as our efficiency. And a lot of that has to do with going to the Williams books, having our records all together on that, which we did a couple of years ago. It makes everything very easily right there and efficient and handy. But also having Brian Quadrosi, which I'll say every time, I don't know what I could do without that guy. The way he handles his business helps the village out a lot. And that's pretty much what I've got.
So I just quickly just Googled what 45,000 square feet and 60,000 square feet are. So 45,000 square feet is basically an acre.
Mhm.
So the suggestion is that the properties have to be even bigger than an acre, 1.3 acres. Seems like
The
awfully
60,000 is
large.
about 1.3.
Yeah.
1.5.
That seems really large. And people don't think an acre is sufficient? No.
What do you mean people don't think acres?
Well, the planning board doesn't think an acre is a sufficiently large lot for low density residential.
Well, I
Doesn't
don't know.
seem to me.
I don't know what their opinion is as far as whether they think it's big enough or not, but their concern is for the density to become
Mhm.
out of control.
Well,
My
an acre
home,
per house doesn't seem like out of control.
my home is about an acre. It's very close to
It's
an
a
acre,
normal, nice sized property to me, an acre.
right? But
But Ronnie also lives in a medium density residential.
Which is then what, I know you don't know off the top of your head all the numbers, but what's medium in terms of lot size?
I could find out numbers for you. Let me get them,
Curious.
'cause I don't have them memorized.
I mean, I don't know, I grew up in a place where I feel like an acre is low density. I don't know,
yeah,
but I guess it's all perspective. If you're used to a farm, you're like, what?
No, it's to preserve the character of the place. So
Yeah. And it depends on what was there previously.
right. I mean, that could always be changed down the road if people decide, well, low density is not that bad. But for right now, people want it to be medium density. Or
People want it to be medium.
low density. I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
but to me, low density and an acre are simpatico.
Yeah, but not over there. It's much more low. It's lower density, I guess.
Density residential. For a Seward area. 1 unit is 30,000.
Oh, that's much lower. 30,000,
And your 2 unit is 40,000.
okay.
For your medium density. Medium density is 1 unit is 20,000. 2 unit is 25,000. So you're under
Right, okay,
a half acre for a
right.
single unit.
So that's very different than saying we have to move it to 60,000. It's at 30,000.
1,000 for unsewered.
Seward area is 30, for a non-Seward is 60. And for a Seward area is 30, so you're cutting the unit in half.
Mhm.
So the possibility of increasing the number of lots is.
It's doubled.
Except for the
depending on
frontage.
Depending on frontage, which is,
Another way to handle it would be to just sort of say, instructions to the BZA that there aren't exceptions in frontage. Because if somebody, like, there was just recently one that came up to the BZA, right? There was a division on Skega Heights Road and they were slightly under the acreage and they got a variance.
yes, they had frontage, they just didn't have the sufficient lot size.
Yeah,
It wasn't that wasn't.
wasn't that far off. It was very close.
One was conforming and the other one was not.
Barely
And the
non-conforming.
reason why they had the frontage on the other one is because it was a corner lot.
Oh. Interesting. Okay.
Anybody have any questions on anything going on in the village?
No, but the idea, Carolyn, was to preserve the lot size independent of the sewer.
Right.
And I've had numerous calls about parcels, especially on Cuba Heights Road, whether it could be subdivided or not.
Right.
And most of the time, any way I could analyze it, it would require some type of variance.
Mike, you saw my email about the request from Linda Woodard.
Yep, I'm working on that.
There's no hurry. She said sometime within the week, so whenever you can get that to me.
I'll have it for you.
Yeah, I figure you probably get your hands on it pretty quick, so. Okay, Jody, do you have anything for us?
Sure, I've been collecting taxes and trying to get all the necessary information together to close out last year. Having a problem getting stuff from Belisario, which screws up everything for me. So hopefully we'll get that soon and then we'll have that for you at the July meeting.
Good.
Also, once we get the Belisario bill, we'll be able to finalize the Pyramid Drive storm invoice that we need to build them all. Because they're gonna pay for 2/3 of the expenses, so get that all together. There was a court order to lower the assessment for the Dairy One, which is gonna result in a decrease in our in lieu of taxes. And when speaking with Lisa Scott at Tompkins County Finance, it was found that the in lieu of taxes she gave me for the village for Dairy One and for Ithaca B&T Associates were incorrect. She never updated them from the previous year. So I had to rebill them, which resulted in B&T Park. You'll see an invoice in there that I refunded them $954 because they've already paid. And then Dairy One, I could just rebill. So it was a total difference of $2,390.10. So
And that was a court order.
that was a court order and the other one was a mistake by the county finance.
Do we get court orders like that very often?
No,
Okay, interesting.
but there are people that challenge their assessments and we're based on the previous year's assessment. So a lot of time it doesn't hit us, but this one happened to. So
All right. That's good.
that's about it.
Yeah, anything? Okay. Carolyn, do you have anything for us?
Nope.
Susan?
No.
Nothing? Okay. I've got a few things. The Gang of Five met yesterday. The Gang of Five is a subset of the Group of Six. And this has to do with the sewer flow from municipalities into the Village of Cayuga Heights wastewater treatment plant and the Ithaca area wastewater treatment plant. So with the city of Ithaca, it's Group of Six. Gang Five is basically just Village of Cayuga Heights. So Village of Cayuga Heights is negotiating with the Ithaca area plant to reduce the amount of sewage that's diverted using the Klein Road bypass. Some of this you've heard from me in the past, but the new contract is meant to reduce the overall cost of using the Klein Road bypass simply because we won't be feeding into the Klein Road bypass nearly as much. However, this past February, there was a sustained event of capacity going down into the Village of Cayuga Heights. Their daily maximum capacity is 2 million gallons per day, and they were at 1.9 for a sustained period of several weeks, according to Linda. So they're concerned that our inflow and infiltration, what you'll hear is I&I, is being exacerbated by sewer pipes that run near an intermittent stream, and those intermittent streams, due to rainfall, snowfall, snow melt, are absorbing water and putting that into the system. So they're asking all of us to check by hand or by walking around all of our potential I problems related to intermittent streams. John, I made John aware of that, but with a 3-person crew, capital projects, it makes it hard. So they're looking at potentially hiring a consulting firm to do this for us. And so that's in the negotiation too. So my concern is that the intermittent costs where we just send it through occasionally could be as high as just paying for the normal annual fee. So I'm trying to put all of these numbers together and make a calculation. I'm concerned that we're only getting a myopic view of how this is going to be really great without looking at the overall view. Is it really great for all of us for the whole time? So I'm looking into that too. Linda presents information at our meetings with slides. She doesn't send the slides out before the meetings. And I have asked her to get me a copy of those slides so I could get the real numbers and start digging into them. So this is going to happen probably between now and August 15th, the plant to plan agreement. So I'll be working with John Courtney and TG Miller to kind of determine if we can make a better proposal. My concern is that originally our sewer fees were going toward paying for the flow that was going through Klein Road bypass. And now our sewer rates will not be going down, according to Linda. We will still be paying the same amount. They will not be paying at least $144,000 a year. And we will be absorbing the cost. The cost of that is basically going to be divided among the gang of 5 based upon our water consumption numbers from Molten Point. So ours will be fairly high. I don't have real numbers that I can present to you, but by our next meeting in July, I think I can present you numbers and maybe get some questions answered about whether this new plant to plan agreement is a good deal or a bad deal for us.
Why would they even consider closing down the Klein Road bypass when they're right now saying there's a moratorium here?
The Klein Road the moratorium is due based upon the capacity. When they were close to exceeding their daily capacity, the Klein Road bypass was completely open for that entire time. So even the Klein Road bypass did not solve the problem. So that's why there is a pause, because with the Village of Cayuga Heights wastewater treatment plant receiving everything it could, and the Ithaca area wastewater treatment plant receiving everything it could from us, Village of Cayuga Heights came perilously close to hitting their daily maximum load. And if they hit that enough times, the DEC will come in and impose some pretty stringent regulations on them and us.
The Ithaca area plant was also almost over capacity.
Now, she didn't say that, but there was something going on this year. I don't know if it's just the severe rainstorms along with the snow melt, ice jams that would basically stop water from going through the stream, back it up into the streets and come in another way. So we're working on that right now. I just wanted to let you know that there's a chance that we will have to budget in money for the Klein Road bypass usage at our next cycle.
Well, the way it would go, it would just become part of the rate.
Yeah, you just,
And your rate would increase. So it's not anything more than budgeting according to the rate.
It's just judging, using the budget process to fit it in. Okay. But I think it's an additional cost beyond what we're currently paying.
It'll just go into the rate
Yeah,
because it's all based on usage.
I agree. I just don't want it unless we absolutely have to.
the town of Ithaca actually did a study. So you should ask for that.
That's Rod Howe.
Yeah,
Okay,
it would be his engineer.
okay.
I've forgotten.
Yeah, I can't remember his name too. I
But
got
the
here somewhere.
Long Hansville Road leaks like a sieve.
Study.
Another one in the village of Cayuga Heights, on Pleasant Grove Road. But there's a stream, it also leaks like a sieve.
Yeah, there are several. But it's incumbent upon us to check our I and make sure we're doing the best we can. And
We certainly have some.
We have.
yeah, I agree. But Ed Levine asked a question before I asked, well, how do we know when we've succeeded? How do we know that when the town of Lansing and the village of Lansing have done everything they can and there's still a lot of I going into the village of Heights? At what point can we say, okay, we've done everything we can. We should not have to pay for the additional I anymore. And Linda was going, well, we're not sure. We don't really trust our new meters. And I'm thinking, if you don't trust your meters, why are you using the meters? So it's an evolutionary process to get this going, but I have lots of questions. And we're not the only ones. The other people are questioning it too. So, but that process is ongoing. I'll let you know when I have more information. You got my email about the Governor Hochul extending the declaration of disaster emergency so we can continue for another month of public officers attending either in person or remotely. We prefer everyone be here, but absolutely, if you're ill or you're concerned or you just cannot make it, you can still call in, participate, and vote. And then once this public disaster or the disaster emergency is ended, then we will fall back on our new village teleconferencing law. So that we just passed. Some good news. Through the efforts of our climate smart community, the village of Lansing met all the requirements to be designated by NYSERDA as a clean energy community. Basically, we did nothing additional except paperwork because those two programs, the climate smart communities and clean energy communities, have kind of parallel tracks. We met the minimum for the clean energy community. We're not quite there for the climate smart community yet. We'll be down the road. And so Regina Cassidy from Cornell Cooperative Extension, who's our clean energy communities coordinator, helped me fill out the application to NYSERDA, since they have designated us as a clean energy community. We are once we apply, we are awarded a $5,000 grant that we can use for any type of a green energy program within the village that we want. So I made that application, and Tuesday it was accepted. So Jody will either receive a check or direct deposit. I don't believe I gave them all the direct deposit information, so it might be a check.
Good work. So what do we have to do with that grant money? Is there a specific use for it, or they're just giving us money?
The only thing, there's really no requirement on how we use it. In my application, I said we would just use it for any of our green energy or clean energy programs within the village, which could be help pay for EV stations. It could be for sidewalks for walkability. It could be for trees to clean the air. There's not a lot of restrictions for the money. So, and then just a reminder that we won't have another meeting until next month at this time, July, because our next two Monday meetings are both falling on federal holidays. So
our next meeting is a noon meeting, right?
noon meeting,
And it's the
July
14th.
14th. Yes,
And then the meeting after that is what meeting? Is the 25th? Or the 18th?
18th,
18th.
4 days after the Thursday meeting.
7:30.
So anything else that we didn't cover? Don, thanks for being here today, and congratulations on getting this project through.
It's been 10 years, probably,
It's been a long time.
something like that.
Yeah, it's been a while, so it's on its way.
That's good. Thank you.
Let the fun begin.
Let the backhoe begin.
Yeah, so
Kind of like North Trip Hammer Road. The same amount of time.
okay, you almost let me forget. We have to vote to pay bills.
Good job.
Did you have any questions about?
But haven't been answered.
No.
Nor did I. So I will move that we pay this month's bills. I need a second.
You want a second? I'll second.
Susan seconds. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, Jody will pay the bills. once again. So that's it for today. I guess our meeting will adjourn at,
What you have to motion.
oh, I need a motion to adjourn. I move.
I'll second.
Susan, once again, seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We're officially adjourned at
109.
1:09.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy Juneteenth, everyone.
Oh, yeah.
The town is celebrating, not just us.